morning, Christy Hartman here. I'm going to do some gel printing today. I'm using shades of red, a couple pinks, and an orange. I'm using today my big Jelly Arts gel plate. This is about a 12 by 14. You can see it's kind of dirty, and I hope that I'll be able to pull up a lot of this dried on bits onto my prints today to make some interesting patterns and textures. So let's get started. I'm going to start by giving my pages just some color, and I'm just using just a shade of red. And I'm going to clean off my brayer real quick on a paper towel that I have right beside my printing space. Some sheets of deli paper and just lay it right on this fairly large printing plate. Oh, actually that's really cool. Look at that. Look at all that interesting pattern and texture that I pulled up that was on my gel plate. We're going to begin using a series of reds. This is Napa Red. And we're layering all of these different reds, tone on tone, right on top of all those prints that I just made with the Santa red background. These are Stencil Girl stencils. You can purchase them off their website. If you've never looked at Stencil Girl stencils, I'd recommend them. They are really fantastic, unique patterns in their stencils that you actually won't find anywhere else. I believe now we're using a little bit of watermelon slice. Again, Stencil Girl stencils. And notice all of the texture and the depth that I'm getting in these prints. Lots and lots of red. Now we're using Orange Flame, just to add a little bit of orange to this. This is a large gel plate. There is no reason that you have to use one this size. You can use the 8 by 10, you can use the 6 by 6, whatever you have. I'm just showing you how to layer your paint colors using stencils to develop your depth and your texture on your prints. You can see that this was a print that I had used, or I had printed previously, and then I just printed right over the top of it because I didn't like the print, didn't need the print, so I just used it for my reds. Getting lots of good orange color on these, just to lighten them up a little bit. In the next sequence, we're going to start adding some pink, and we're going to use electric pink, which is a really, really light pink, but it's going to add just a really nice pop of color on these prints. I'm going to use, this is a small stencil. I believe this is a 6 by 6 inch stencil. I just like the pattern that you get, and notice how I repeat that pattern by moving that stencil all around my plate to develop the background texture. And when I say background texture, I mean the paint pattern that's left on the gel plate after I've done all that printing. This, when you use this technique where you use a paint color over the top of your previous pattern, you do want to make sure that your paint color in the background is dry. Otherwise, it'll just blend with whatever paint color you're using. Sometimes that won't be a problem, sometimes it might be a problem. Changing to another red, still using that large gel plate. It takes a lot of brayering to work on this. This is actually, on the right hand side, this is actually a Crafter's Workshop stencil called Pebbles. This time I'm just printing on deli paper, and I'm just adding little pops of red throughout my prints. And I'm showing you how to fill in spaces where you'd like to have more paint. This is kind of a fun technique. It's a little bit of a puzzle to see if you can fill in those spaces. Just doing a cleanup print to pick up any remaining paint that's behind my stencil. And you can see I got a little bit. Let's print what's in the negative stencil shape behind when we were doing the positive. Again, another nice, decent red print. Picked up a little bit of pink on that print as well from the background. Now I'm going to go over with some white, and this time we're going to pick up all that background pattern and texture that was on that gel plate from our previous printing session. And I'm just going to layer all my prints right over the top of each other. And look at how that white pulls up that red pattern. I actually love these prints. I thought they were actually fascinating and interesting the way it pulled up that pattern. I'm actually going to add some more dark red to my previous prints. If you notice, you can see that I have a lot of pattern in the background behind this Napa red that I'm brayering on. I've also switched to my 8x10 inch gel plate. And the reason I did that was because it was a really hot day and my paint was really drying quickly on my larger gel plate, which was making it hard to pick up my prints. So I just switched over to my smaller gel plate using my favorite Stencil Girl stencil. I think this is called Circles or something like that. I can't recall the exact name of it, but I'd purchase it. I love this stencil. And I'm using those white and red prints that I just finished and just showed you in the previous painting session. And those ended up being my favorite prints. Adding a little bit more orange to my prints using a Crafter's Workshop stencil called Punchinella. And I'm going to add just pops of orange. Notice how I lay my paper down, lay my print down, and I rub my hand over those areas that I want to print. This kind of gives you a random appearance to your print. I hope you've enjoyed this printing session. I hope that you will try printing some of your own red projects, and I hope that you're going to share those with me, and I hope that if you enjoyed this video, like it and become a follower. Thanks. Talk to you next time.